is Europe Today.
In an interview with Euronews and the morning show Europe Today, EPP Group MEP and former general of the Estonian army Riho Terras said that Trump's 28-point so-called peace plan for Ukraine would equate to Kyiv's capitulation. The US-backed plan presented last week to Ukraine calls on it to cede the eastern Donbas region to Russia, limits the size of the Ukraine's armed forces to 600,000 and bars Kyiv from joining NATO.
Well, the Americans believe everything that Putin says.
What do you mean by that?
I'm very surprised that Trump runs like an errand boy for the Putin's capitulation plan, which we have seen 28-point plan, which was a clear Russian plan how to capitulate, to make Ukraine to capitulate. It has nothing to do with the reality, and it violated all the international rules and regulations we have had till now.
The MEP agreed with European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, who warned in a speech to MEPs on Wednesday that Russia's playbook has not changed, with Ukraine being just the start.
Russia only understands power.
That means what?
It means that we need to get ourselves much more powerful on the military side. We need to act in support of Ukraine. We need to send finances and weapons to Ukraine. We need to show Russia there's no way that Russia can go further.
Ukraine has called on its partners to allocate 0.25% of their GDP to military support for Ukraine in 2026. Terras agreed that the EU could do more and is already late in providing the necessary financial support for Ukraine. Countries failed to set a phase-out of fossil fuels at the COP30, and Europe is partly to blame. European lawmakers noted during a plenary debate in Strasbourg on the results of the 30th United Nations Climate Conference held last week in Belém, Brazil. The final text avoids any roadmap to phase out coal, gas and oil extraction due to major resistance from oil-producing countries.
We needed a good deal 10 years after the Paris Agreement, and what did we get instead? I am sorry, Commissioner, but I think the support for the fossil fuel roadmap was too weak, and we were disorganized in the European Union at the table of the COP. Or why else would the EU countries sign different proposals at different times?
Some MEPs also criticized the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, for saying at the G20 in South Africa that the EU was not fighting fossil fuels, only emissions.
Transitioning away from fossil fuels. Europe in Belém was standing behind it, but Europe in South Africa was questioning that maybe we should talk about the emissions of fossil fuels and not fossil fuels themselves. I really think the coordination within the Commission is not good enough.
What the COP30 participants did agree on was to triple adaptation finance by 2035 in order that developed countries assist developing countries adapting to the impact of climate change.
The European reform of air passenger rights seems to be going from bad to worse. Dissatisfaction with the draft text has now reached such a level that the industry has called for a pause in the negotiations. We urgently call for a 6-month pause to the deliberations until a thorough impact assessment of the proposed measures has been conducted, it says in a letter sent on behalf of the airline industry operating in Europe. The current draft text could increase the sector's total annual cost by at least 40%, according to various airlines associations. Currently, European air travelers are entitled to compensation if a flight is cancelled or delayed by more than 3 hours. However, airlines are pushing for the threshold to be raised, which the European Consumer Association rejects.
Les premières discussions au Conseil portaient sur un palier de 5 heures et 9 heures, ce qui là aurait enlevé 90% des droits des passagers. Donc là, pour nous, c'était inacceptable. Le deal final s'est retrouvé à 4 heures et 6 heures, ce qui va impacter plus de 60% des passagers. Ça veut dire que 6 personnes sur 10 n'auraient plus le droit à aucune compensation. Pour nous, c'est inacceptable, bien sûr.
Interinstitutional negotiations between the Council, the Parliament and the Commission will resume on Monday.
我们打开盖子的第一眼，发现我们的样品状态是良好的，并没有就是之前可能会预想到的这些陨石空间碎片的一些冲击造成的一些坑啊、一些孔洞等等，没有肉眼可见的很明显的这些缺陷。第二个就是在颜色上面，就是比上型之前，我们发现颜色好像变浅了一点点。这个还需要根据后续的更深入的实验研究来表征来发现。
我们在上天的样品中有一部分是完整的一个样品，有一部分是预制了45度推振缝的一个样品，主要就研究的是它在经过空间的长达1年的非遗环境后，它会在力学性能上有什么一个变化。
那么第3年下行之后呢，我就有更多的横向比较之后呢，我可能就要揭示它们的规律，我可以推测到5年、10年、20年，它大概是一个什么样的一个服役变化的趋势，甚至就是最终把环境进行一个对比，然后最终推到月球上。现在看来只是一块月亮砖，但是未来若干年以后吧，可能未来的广寒宫啊，中国的这个月球基地啊，就是有这么一块一块的月亮砖，然后逐步堆起来的。
What we are able to do here is that we are also able to create a resection plan to simulate how the tumor can be cut out. This also allows us to calculate the volume of the liver and also the remnant and the resect. Yeah, so what we have learned from the clinicians is that the real value is the spatial feeling and the understanding of the anatomical structures that you get from looking at it from different angles, being able to expand it, being able to cut into it with different tools.
Current care is looking at big grey CT imaging, slice after slice after slice, and trying to piece it together. So you imagine 5 surgeons trying to plan a complicated case. They all have different opinions, different ways of thinking about it. Younger ones don't dare to say too much to the professor. So then you have this very unique opportunity to collaborate and look at the images, and expand the images, go inside the images, and actually plan better surgery. Where we've had cases where a surgeon has actually called back a patient who he had decided was inoperable, sent him home and said, "We can't do anything for you," had taken our platform, and then he realized that actually he could operate. So he brought the case back in, and the man, as we followed, is alive and well with his children. The 3D models are put inside to help with navigation, and our ultimate goal, of course, is that a surgeon would have on a lens and be looking at the patient, so the hologram would be overlaid and fixed onto the body of a patient. So you imagine the liver, so that it was fixed, and you would operate in 3D through the hologram.